Hey guys, this is Sharad with REsimpli. We have a very special investor on this call, Eric Rubin. Eric has been with REsimpli for several years. I'm very excited to talk to him and get to know about his experience with REsimpli. Eric, welcome to the call. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. You say I feel so special.
yeah, no, man, thank you so much. It's my honor to have you on this call. Eric, where do you live and what market do you invest in?
I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and so I invest in the Atlanta area. I have one property in Tennessee where I grew up, but it's not I mean, I guess I would do more if something fell into my lap, but I'm not the distance investor guy like you.
Yeah, no, I was forced to be in that situation. So, which now I would not change that. What kind of investing do you do in Atlanta market?
I started off well, I'm a broker, so I work in commercial real estate. And then I started off in the residential world. So I was working with buyers and sellers and whatnot. And then I got into some wholesaling, some fix and flipping and rentals and all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
So I'm probably too much of a dabbler. I need to find my niche a little better, maybe.
And how long have you been investing for?
I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I think.
5 or 6 years. And what's your current team size?
I used to have a couple VAs and I had more things. I've leaned down the last year or so as I'm kind of shifting, I'm pivoting some of my stuff. So it's just me right now. And
Nice.
then I've kind of removed some of the VA pieces just because I didn't feel like I was either it wasn't me managing or you can only do so much with a VA because it's you're not there to
Yeah,
look over
absolutely.
all day every day. I mean,
Yeah,
even with Upwork or some of the other products that, allow you to see their screen, it's just not the same. And I
yeah,
and I don't do that kind of volume where, I work like that. I'd rather work a little bit leaner rather than uh
absolutely.
bigger for the sake of bigger.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. And then you run a lean business and your profitability is higher. So yeah, I that totally makes sense. Do you mind sharing how many deals are you doing per month or per year? Totally cool if you're not comfortable with that.
Um, I'm not doing like deals per month. Again, I was trying to get to a place where I was doing just doing the volume, but I've kind of shifted to where I'm being picky on the deals that I do. So I'm doing fewer deals, higher profit deals,
Nice.
and then that way I can focus on the other things that I'm working on. Just because, in the commercial, as I've shifted to being a commercial broker, it takes a lot more time, and those are the deals that are kind of those keeping the lights on.
Absolutely.
Even then, like some of those deals are pretty big. Like it's replacing, some of the base hits that I would have done
With
with like
wholesaling.
a wholesale deal or
Yeah.
wholesaling or something like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we also in our business try to focus on quality over quantity. I would rather do less deals, but do high margin deals than just to, reach a certain number for the sake of reaching a certain number. And how are you finding your deals on the investing side?
I'm looking into other things. Like when I first started out, I don't even know if we're supposed to say RVM anymore, but
Yeah.
I started off doing RVM stuff and cold calling, and then I had some cold callers, and I did direct mail, and I find that just and also like I feel like everybody starts off with bandit signs, and even
Yeah.
though I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think this is the thing to do, but it's what somebody told me to do, so I tried it. And then every call I got, I was like, this could be code enforcement tricking
Yeah.
me. So it wasn't even worth it.
Right.
And I feel like RVM and cold calling can kind of be the same way. So I'm doing most of direct mail and then just kind of the community around me,
Right.
getting referrals and those kind of things.
Yeah, it's funny. I used to feel the exact same way about bandit signs when I first did them. Like, oh, this could be code enforcement tricking me. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah,
And I feel like I would get stuff and I'm like, man, I'm not sure, but this
Yeah,
sounds
I
like this
know.
can't be right.
Yeah.
And also just when you were doing it, you get a feeling, and even if you're having other people do it, you feel like you're being productive. It's one of those traps of you, at least let me not speak for other people, but I like to feel productive. So sometimes when I'm busy, I am feeling productive when I'm
Right.
not being productive at all.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally understand that. All right.
Were there
Now,
just fireworks behind me?
yeah, there were. Yeah, it's just talking about productivity. So it's just like, Zoom AI must have picked up something. Like, you should celebrate that.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And how long have you been using REsimpli for now?
Man, I don't know. I remember starting to use REsimpli when you were just getting
Yeah.
more of like the beta testing out there and just kind of seeing
You might
what
have
people
been
would
one of
use
the
and what they
first
didn't use.
100 users, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so because I think you were just um you were just starting to let people know about it,
Right.
where you were, it was still a an idea in your head.
Right. Yeah, I think you're definitely one of the first 100 people back in 2020 is when you started using it, right? Yeah, it's been about 4 years.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you might know better than me
Yeah.
if you've got it in there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've used it for a while, and then before then I've used several because there's a lot of different ones for agents, and then there's different ones that I've used for that. And then I would use them because they had like, oh, well, this is a feature that will save me some time and it takes the place of another thing.
Right.
And certain stuff, I feel like, we had mentioned or I mentioned niches earlier, and I feel like it works with software too, is that some stuff you need it to be totally specialized where it does this one thing and it does it the best. And in other situations, at least for me, I need things that it's really good at this and then it covers the bases on these other things.
Right.
And I feel like the fact that I can replace other products that I've been using and just have one, that was big for me. And
Right.
especially with being, I don't have the big giant team, so I don't need all the specialized stuff.
Right.
I feel like some people have gotten into, especially brokerages and some like big firms, they'll build out their own thing
Yeah.
based on some other big software, and they'll spend so much time and money like figuring that out. And maybe it works because they've got 50 or 100 people or something.
Right.
But for me, if I can kind of plug and play and have something that is going to cover the bases, get me where I need to go and get me moving, then
Right.
I feel like doing something. I feel like I'm backtracking on my productivity versus
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
productivity versus probably have to edit that out, but the productivity versus busy.
Yeah,
There you
no,
go.
absolutely. Now we've had several investors switch from, a custom built Podio or Salesforce just because, after a year or so they realize it's an endless cycle of just putting money into it and hiring developers. It takes them away from being investors and they end up managing, developers and it just gets so complex for them. So I totally understand where you're
I
coming
mean, maybe
from.
if you're big enough to have an IT department
Yeah.
or in-house people that are
Yeah.
always going to be maintaining your thing,
Exactly. Yeah. And then if you have a
then maybe it
very
makes sense.
specific need where you have to have a certain thing work this way because you have such a unique business, then it makes sense. But 99% of the investors, they don't need that kind of a system. So yeah, no, I agree with where you're coming from. And you've been with us for, over 4 years. How do you feel about the customer support and resources that are available to kind of help you navigate recently?
I feel like the customer support is very supportive.
Yeah.
Everybody is very polite. It seems like they're well trained. And I think you're very brave that you have like such a public forum as people are discussing things or maybe suggesting what's going to be on the roadmap. And sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that's on the roadmap, but that's end of year this year, it's mid-year next year. So it's nice that you're so transparent with that stuff. And back to the customer support, if they can do something, then they will. And if they can't, then they'll let me know. And then, I mean, like right now, I'm trying to figure out a workaround for a couple things so that I can just kind of organize my stuff the best I can. I'm big on organization. I
Yeah.
hate feeling like there's something that I missed or that I'm not getting all of a list.
Right. No, absolutely. And would you say REsimpli has helped you achieve your goals in your investing business?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would say that ReSimpli has helped me get my goals, even raise my goals,
Yeah.
because it just helps with all those pieces to get it moving forward.
And which feature of REsimpli do you find the most valuable?
I like having my list stacking connected to my leads, so that way I don't always have to be backtracking and checking to see like what's been mailed or what's been um, somebody that's already a lead, and then it's just being messy, and then you have those awkward conversations of like, oh yeah, we already talked. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that way you don't look like a jerk that's mailing 10 million people, even though you might be mailing or calling 10 million people.
And are there any leads that you have closed on because of, features in REsimpli that you can think of through drip campaign or through follow up or any other feature?
Yeah, I would say that the drip campaigns have helped me when I've been lazy on stuff. I am pretty careful about the drip campaigns these days. And then especially but I like the fact that y'all catch stuff that I may not be aware of. I got a text in, and then I was trying to text somebody back. It was our first touch, and they texted me. So I texted them back, and it said, "Hey, with your first text, it has to have your company name on it."
Right.
And then it added in the stop to unsubscribe thing, which I was like, "Oh, what is this?" I was like, "They are reaching out to me," but if that had slipped through, then that could have been a bad thing.
Right.
And like we were talking about not feeling good with some of the marketing activities, I would hate to get a fine or do something wrong or even have somebody have a bad user experience because I didn't know what the latest rules were.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And especially
Put
with
that on the
SMS.
commercial, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, man, with SMS, things are getting pretty crazy. Like the carriers are getting super, super strict. I mean, there's very strict requirements that you have to meet. And then from what we've heard, it's only going to get, stricter into the year. So it'll be interesting to see kind of which direction that
As
goes
it
in.
should.
Yeah,
As it should, because I mean, I know you're probably in some. Yeah, from what I remember of your business, the times we've interacted, you're in some very competitive markets. In
right.
Atlanta, it's super competitive, and there's a lot of people that have no interest in following the rules or the laws or
Yeah,
whatever it is. So having some restrictions and making sure that the the people that are selling their houses have some protections from folks that are going
absolutely.
to do things that aren't ethical. I don't
Absolutely.
think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric, what are your future goals and how do you see it recently playing a part in achieving them?
My future goals are to start buying commercial real estate. I think ReSimpli will play a part in that. I know we've talked about some other avenues. I don't want to get in. I don't know what I can get into here because I don't know um, what may not be ready to be rolled out just yet. But I know we've talked about some features and some different things that could be helpful for, agents and wholesalers and
Right.
all the different things. So I'm excited to see what y'all come up with. I feel like sometimes people are pretty excited about a new feature coming out, but I like it when y'all are steady. I feel like what's that military saying? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but something like that. Yeah, something I've heard a couple of other people use that. Yeah, it's the like I understand where you're coming from, like have a solid foundation to keep building more on top of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the like we said, like we need to get going, and the boring day-to-day stuff is the stuff that moves the needle. It's
Yeah,
not that next shiny thing that's going to
absolutely.
be the silver bullet that fixes everything,
Yeah.
or silver bullet, magic bullet. I don't know if I'm talking business or fighting werewolves over here.
Yeah, no, 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 you're doing great. No, I think I totally understand where you're coming from. I think that's something we've learned as a company also is rather than going after like the next shiny object, like what we have enhanced that, like go deeper into a specific, feature. Like we have some cool updates coming with leads filter right now, this month, which I'm super excited about. I mean, this is something that's going to be a big game changer because now you can stay more on top of the leads rather than work on a new feature, a new, product within REsimpli. We decided let's enhance, the leads management part of it. And we're rolling out integration with Gmail also, just, so
Hmm.
you can better communicate with your leads. If you have Gmail account, then you don't have to log into Gmail. You can just manage all of that from within REsimpli now. So those sort of things are kind of what we're prioritizing. Cool.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
cool, and that's awesome to see.
Eric, is there anything particular about REsimpli you think sets it apart from other real estate software that are in the market?
I think the thing that differentiates,
Yeah, I
that
think
might
that's a
be a
word.
word. Well,
Yeah, I
okay.
think so. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we'll roll with it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds legit word.
Um,
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes y'all different is what is having those different pieces that I don't have to find another software to do that thing. And then it's integrated because it's already a part of the software, so that if typically there's a way to figure it out, I may not know it, and I may have to reach out to support to say, hey, can I tag this from the app, or can I tag this
Right.
from Drawing for Dollars? And and sometimes the answer is like, oh, that's coming,
Yeah.
but it's not something that we're doing just yet. I think that's the thing that makes the difference.
Cool. Eric, final question. What would you say to someone who's listening to this or watching this and is on the fence about using REsimpli?
What I would say to somebody who's on the fence about using ReSimpli is it's very easy to onboard. What I would say is take the time to clean up your data as it's going in and you're making the shift, and then probably do it yourself, or whoever does your marketing, make sure they're the one doing it, because that way you can do all the tags and all the things and all the updating, so that you know what's in there and that you can kind of clean up your tags and lists and all the things while you're getting it set up.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree with that. I think that's a good opportunity when someone transfers over is to clean up the data and just almost kind of get like a fresh start. Because once you start doing that, you realize you have so much junk data in your leads and list stacking and whatnot. So it's a good opportunity to clean up. Eric, if someone listening to this wants to connect with you, learn more about what you have got going, what's the best way to do that?
The best way to get in touch with me is an email, or you can get me on social media, but I feel like that's such a lame thing to say.
Yeah, no,
But yeah,
that's what.
you can email me at eric@selltopeach.com, or Eric B. Rubin on Instagram. And that's probably the easiest
Perfect.
way to just message me, or
Cool.
whatever you want. But
Yeah.
email might be the easiest because I feel like they hide people that you may not be connected with yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll make sure we put links to that in the video. Cool.
There you go.
Awesome.
That's easier. It's easier to just push buttons than it is
Yeah.
to remember. Nobody
Yeah.
writes things down anymore.
Right. Yeah. All right, Eric, thank you so much for coming on the call, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thanks.